nursing, so usually she can join like from the hospital, but,
Okay.
but we have a quorum anyways with three.
Yeah.
Is Jen online?
Not yet.
Do you have?
Oh, somebody just logged in. Is that Jen?
The person who's on the phone, that. R6 to unmute.
They just
Well,
logged
they're
in.
gone again.
Hi. All right, let's just get going. Provincetown Harbor Committee will hold a public meeting on Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 at 2 p.m. in the Judge Welsh Room. In accordance with Chapter 2 of the Act of 2023, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable. To join the meeting, click the link in the thing or dial in. To participate during public comment on Teams, raise your hand to be called on to speak. By phone, speak named clearly to be called on to speak. Please.
Meeting, so
Oh no, so we can't have it?
I don't, Jamie said to find out, so I'm gonna run and check.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a hold of it.
Hold, please. So Gavin, because you're new, the agenda that we received goes to the town clerk and then it gets posted on the committee website for the public. And if anything is wrong on that agenda, if it's the wrong agenda, or if the, for example, like if we are offering a remote meeting and the phone number was wrong, we couldn't have the meeting. So if the
Got it.
agenda that was posted is not the correct agenda, then in theory we can't have.
Which is interesting because I copied and pasted and
Yeah,
I had,
I-
it. Yeah,
I
it
joined
was,
from the link that's posted online, Michaela.
yeah, I mean, it looked like the itinerary was normal.
Does not make sense. I'm checking right now.
I always just go to the town website and go to the agenda posted there and use that link
Okay,
just
perfect.
to make
We're
sure
fine.
that we are in the correct
Yeah,
one.
we're fine. It's Katie's. Hello. Let me call Jamie and just tell her. Oh wait, that's her. Katie. Sorry, I just took a big swallow. It. I just checked the harbor committee, and it is it's our harbor agenda on the website. That's weird because I'm looking at it from the harbor committee. If you go to harbor committee agendas, March 11th.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Stage person, bring it up, it's running, you're good to have. your
Yeah.
day.
I'll send you the link that I have, Jamie, but it's good. Do you need the agenda? Yeah, no, I'm gonna send you the agenda now, but for all of us that's working on the website, I'm gonna send it to you. If you want to pop over, I have saltines. All right, all right. So let me get back to. All right, so Please note that while an option for remote attendance and or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting or hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. This will be suspended because there's only 2 of us in the room. Items may be taken out of order at the discretion of the chair. First up is public comment.
Michaela, I think Laura's
Yeah,
gonna join.
attendance. Present for today's meeting are Mia,
Here,
Laura. Laura, you're muted.
here.
Maria.
Here.
And Michaela present, and also for the minutes, Gavin is present, but not sworn in. So can,
Here.
all right, so first up is public comment. There is nobody here from the public and nobody online. Next up is approve minutes. Jen, do you want to take Jen out of order, or do we want to get this done first? Your preference? Okay. Well, the minutes we have, sorry.
You don't,
You sent them to me, right?
no.
I don't think I have any feeling you guys approved
Oh, I thought I had
that last week.
3 from you.
That was last week.
Okay.
You said that not last
Got
week. So yeah, you already.
Okay. Perfect. So next up is harbor master report.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Awesome. Another busy week in the harbor. Tragically, last week, 2 members of the regional fishing fleet lost their lives when their boat capsized during scalloping dredging off of the coast of Race Point. The 2 individuals on the fishing vessel Yankee Rose were scalloping, which involves dragging a dredge, like a heavy metal bucket, along the harbor floor attached to a cable attached to their boat. It can happen, and the consensus among the local fleet is that the cause of the accident was the scallop dredge became hung up on something, a rock, a wreck, some undersea obstruction, which puts immediate tension on that cable, which, if not released very quickly, can pull on the boat in a way that can tip it over really rapidly. Because the dredge has to be picked up from the seafloor onto the deck to empty the catch, the cable has to run to a fitting high up on the boat, like a crane or a derrick overhead. And so if you imagine a sudden lateral force on that overhead mounting point, you can imagine the boat tipping over. The harbor master's office became aware of the accident when the Coast Guard officer on deck called me. They had heard a report from a fishing boat that saw the vessel in the upside down position. The vessel capsized quickly and then floated there for some period of time. We're not sure exactly how long from vessel capsizing to report to was elapsed. Over half an hour is the current estimate based on when the vessel's automated transponder stopped reporting. The Coast Guard had a helicopter overhead within about 10 minutes. The state police have a 70-mile-an-hour boat in Sandwich that got there minutes after that, and that boat and the helicopter began a search. The Provincetown towboat, US, and the harbor master boats arrived about 10 minutes after that at best speed we could make out of the harbor. Upon arrival, we found that the rescue helicopter had recovered one of the fishermen from the water, and his body had been recovered to the state police boat. The Coast Guard rescue swimmer did not attempt resuscitation because there was no evident signs of life. And so the state police only had 1 person on that boat. We had several on our boat, on our patrol boat. So I transferred to the state police boat to assist with the search on that boat. And then we brought the deceased fisherman back to the pier where medical examiners examined him and the state police took over the investigation. And so there is talk, but no one tells me things anymore, but there's talk that the state police might send a remotely operated vehicle down to the vessel, which did sink at that location, to see if the second fisherman could be identified in the vessel. The general consensus currently is that that person is still in the pilot house where they were probably working when the boat suddenly sank. The harbor master's office has hosted the owners of the boat who were not on board. These were hired captain and hired crew. We hosted the owners of the boat during the day of and served as their sort of like home base for dealing with the situation. And so we're in very close contact with them. And they are in close contact, of course, with the families of their hired crew. The next steps in general are we've published the location of the observed sinking from the Coast Guard to the fleet to mark it as a hazard so that additional operations hopefully avoid catching on that wreck. We are also just coordinating with the Cape Cod Commercial Fishermen's Alliance and the Fishing Support Partnership, 2 nonprofits that work to support the fishing community in times like these, provide assistance as we can. But our hearts go out to the families and everyone affected by this uncommon but not unheard of, random tragedy. So any questions from folks about that?
So my first question is, as long as I like can call the Yankee Road.
Your mic on, just for,
I think so. Oh, no, it's not. As long as I like can remember, the Yankee Rose has always been docked here, but it's not technically part of the fleet. Is that because its hailing port is New Bedford?
I can clarify, they're a member of our winter fleet, so they have been here, they were gone for parts of last summer because they were back in New Bedford, so they are about boat out of New Bedford. We consider them our winter fleet. They've been a winter fleet for years. They do sometimes stop by in the summer, but they're not actually a member of the Provincetown commercial fleet.
But they're here like 9 months.
I mean, they've been here since October, like straight through. They have,
Mm.
out fishing and come right back. So
Yeah.
they have not been back to New Bedford since October of 2025. And then they would have stayed until about May and then gone back to New Bedford for the summer months and then come back here in the fall.
Got it. So my other question is, you had just mentioned about support for families, and as you said, like this is an uncommon occurrence, but it's not unheard of. And this is the second boat in our region that has sunk this year. And since I'm so spendy with the Harbor Access Gift Fund, I think maybe something that we could think about is having an emergency fund for situations like this. A lot of fishermen live, catch to catch, and a lot have young families. And I think that having something in place that we don't have to go to the select board or ask, that there is just a fund available immediately. Not something we need to decide, but maybe to put on a future agenda. And then the other thing is, I saw that the Cape Cod Fishermen's Alliance is doing like a survival suit skills class and in Chatham or Yarmouth, but it maybe it's something, and I don't want to like speak for the fleet, but maybe it's something that we could see if we could offer in Provincetown if people. I know that a couple years ago we had a sinking that they all survived because they were able to get to the lifeboat, and they're so maybe seeing if it's something that people would be interested in offering, just brushing up on skills.
That's great. The Commercial Fishermen's Alliance and the Fishing Support Partnership Services, I get the order of that name wrong. They offer that training in a rotation around the region, and actually held it at our Coast Guard station last April.
Okay.
And so many members of the fleet, I was there. Several of the harbor master staff went, and I see 10 people who I met at that training on the docks every day. So I'm going to ask them when they'll bring it back to Provincetown, but it was a very valuable training. The evidence from the scene indicates that this accident happened so quickly that the individual who we recovered was not wearing flotation. The owners of the boat had, told us that they had provided automatic inflating life jackets to the crew. But it was evident that the person wasn't wearing them at the time of the accident. And so one thing we are going to do,
It's hard to sort when you're wearing.
It's hard, yeah. Well, the jacket, the new jackets are designed to be, they're like slim vest style, and they don't inflate into life jacket size until you hit the water, right? They have an automatic trigger on them, and they're the type that we wear whenever we go on the boat. The staff all wear them, and so we will do our best to sort of convey that message to crew that one thing we can all learn from this accident is that you could be swimming before you know it. And so wear some, seamless flotation that doesn't interfere with your work might save your life. The conditions at the time indicate that if the person who we found from the water had had any more chances, he might have gotten to the upturned hull of the vessel, which was floating and could have been a refuge for him. And so it might be something that folks will take to heart because of this.
Thank you.
Pete, I
And
have
then
a question.
Shoot.
Oh, sorry, Michaela.
No, go ahead, Laura. Oh, sorry. Also,
did the
just for the record,
emergency-
Mike Chute joined the meeting at 2:14.
Jennifer cannot. She said she's sorry.
Who's the 5 number? Is there another member? If you're on the phone, you can *6 to unmute.
Mike Chute's here. I think my name's up there though.
No, I see you. There's another call.
No,
somebody calling you.
I'm here, but it's Jamie, but I have people walking
Oh,
in
hey,
the front
Jamie.
door, so I had
All
it
right,
on
no
mute.
worries.
Okay, all right.
Your
bye.
secret. All right.
Sorry, Laura, go ahead.
Pete, I just had a question. Did the emergency radio that goes off when they capsize, like when the boat hits water, did that ever go off?
That is a good question. I don't know offhand. What you're referring to is called an EPIRB, an emergency position indicating radio beacon. EPIRBs are, I don't want to speak out of turn here. I do not believe EPIRBs are required on a boat that size in the waters it was fishing. It was in Provincetown territorial waters. And EPIRB signals are transmitted on a band that we do not monitor, and they go to a satellite network, which has a global monitoring component and can raise the Coast Guard's attention, certainly. So when an EPIRB goes off anywhere in the world, it gets triaged down to the sector where it came from, and then the local responder, which in our case certainly would be the Coast Guard, would respond to it. The Coast Guard did not mention to me that they received an EPIRB signal. Their signal to launch was from the observation of a passing fishing boat that happened to see the overturned hull.
Did that answer for you, Laura?
Yeah, that's just,
Yeah.
I'm
Also,
just curious
are
because
the-
if it went off, it would be off within minutes, it's just a shame that it
Yeah,
was
they
a
would
half an
trigger
hour.
immediately if it was
that they
triggered.
were-
One indication of the suddenness and mechanics of this event are that the boat did have an auto-deploying life raft, as is required. And because it capsized so quickly, that life raft did not emerge from the boat, right? And so all antennas capable of transmitting on the EPIRB frequency were submerged very rapidly. So the EPIRB would have to be a breakaway type that would both break away from the boat and not get entangled in the rotating superstructure as it went upside down. And so the only things in the mile-long debris field that we followed and tracked around the boat, which came from drift, right? The boat was attached via its commercial dredge or scallop dredge to the sea floor. The boat itself did not move very far the whole time we were on site. The Towboat US affixed a buoy to it so that if it did sink, we could know the location, and the Coast Guard had a aircraft above monitoring the vessel the whole time. Weather conditions worsened throughout the day, and so the small boats left the scene. But the only things we found floating until the boat sank enough to hit the bottom and become presumably sideways were things that were on deck at the time that were free floating. The individual we recovered, his boots, his hat, a basket full of scallops that had just been harvested. So there was nothing else that was indicative of stuff inside the boat, right? From my understanding, from my guess looking at this, they went over very quickly. So it could have had an EPIRB that was unable to transmit because it was upside down.
Sorry, could you say, is it per E?
EPIRB is the acronym that describes the device, and it's a global standard for an emergency beacon that is water or manually activated. You could also pull a switch to turn it on.
it didn't go
It's
off on the Lily
small.
Jean either, right? The boat out of Gloucester.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't believe EPIRBs are
It did.
required for.
Oh, it did go. Oh.
Yeah.
The Lily G.
So my second question is, you forgot about your previous emergency the week before where you guys all had to go to the hospital. And
Yes.
so thank you guys for your efforts and helping the crew members at that time. Would it be helpful to harbor staff if we outfitted you guys with CO2 monitors for, I think, anytime that anyone's
That's
been on
a
boat?
great question. And I visited the Coast Guard the day before the second incident to review they have devices that detect 4 different poisonous gases, including one that's common due to decaying fish. And so it's present in our fleet, but usually not present in recreational vessels. And they're not that expensive. They're well within the operating budget currently. And so they are on order.
So we don't need money from us?
No.
Yeah, I think that any cost of that 8 ambulances is going to cost money, might as well.
Yeah.
Save you guys. But are there any other, while we're revisiting safety protocols, or are there anything else that you guys feel like you need to, or any training that needs to happen that we could bring in, or?
We are certainly in training and protocol review season, right? As we look to staff up and start the 2026 calendar year. And so, for an example, I just signed up for myself, and we have a space for another person from Provincetown to go to a like commercial crewman first responder training. That's boat focused, which is a week in April, training with departments, fire departments from across the region. And so those opportunities come up frequently in the spring. And so as we roll on our spring staff, we'll be bringing the right folks and bringing home lessons and that kind of thing. And also, developing our equipment list for this season, incorporating all the lessons from the last. One thing I'll say is that our patrol vessel M1, we elected to leave it in the water year round just because it's such a capable boat compared to our other boats. And it has performed extremely well all winter. And so despite freezing conditions, which can cause malfunctions in outboards, which, have water cooling and are exposed to the air, it was exactly the right vessel we as a town needed to respond to the emergency off of Race Point. It's 15 nautical miles at least. And the Coast Guard was dispatched in their vessels before us, and we passed them on our way to the site. We were beaten only by the state police and their $2 million 70-mile-an-hour boat. And so I was going to say, well, the state police sent $2 million of boat, and because they only sent one person who can only drive the boat, they sent essentially 0 active crewmen for the scene. And Provincetown responded with 3 boats and 5 people within roughly the same time frame. And so I think the first responders in town, myself, the harbor master boat, my deputy harbor master, Towboat US, and their 2 boats and 3 people all did Provincetown very well and being very available and very responsive. So I want to thank the town and the voters for approving the purchase of that patrol boat a couple of years ago, because it's proven to be a good investment so far.
Thank you. And thank you guys for being so willing to serve. Do you have anything else?
He's not giving himself nearly enough credit for his response to
Well,
that event. I will say that he was incredible, and he should get a lot of kudos for that. He ran out that door faster than I've ever seen him move in our year of working together. He was out and past the point. I couldn't even believe it. And he was in the boat with the body, and was just so professional and handled it so well and kept me calm. And I'm just so grateful for him because he did a really great job. So he deserves a lot of kudos. He was incredible.
Well, thank you,
We're very
Kate. I was
lucky
going
to
to talk
have
about
him.
mooring software.
Well, he deserves kudos and then mooring.
Yeah, no, thank
then we
you.
got
I mean-
mooring software.
Pete, I say it very often, but we're very lucky and very grateful to have you as a harbor master. And Katie, you too. When I popped into the office to see Jamie yesterday, it was so nice to see the office so homey and cute, and the way that you guys all gel together and stuff. It's a really amazing team, and it's
We have a great team.
yeah. So thank you, and Jamie, even though she's muted, it's really nice. Not just how well everyone's working in the office, but I feel like this is the first year in many, many years that Harbor and Pure are also working well together and collaboratively. And so I feel like it's a very exciting new dawn so thank you guys very much. We really couldn't do anything without you. So.
Thank you very much.
All right. So update on harbor regulations. I know everyone's been really up the walls. Has anybody gotten any crack?
We've gotten the plan to the whole plan that we have laid out for you folks and the groups we put them in. That's all gotten approved. The couple members of the peer committee need to clear their participation with the state ethics board because they hold they're both fee payers and evaluating fees. And so Jamie's going to handle that with the peer committee. So some updates on that, but I think Katie and I are ready to start helping the harbor specific ones schedule our meetings and move forward. And one of the blockers on the mooring specific one, which is a big part of the regs, was of course the mooring software, much promised, and now we are seeing the fruits of it. We think in 2 weeks we can give you all a nice demo and give you logins so you can log in and see the mooring field yourselves on your own devices and
You get access to the cameras?
that's different, and unfortunately, no.
We're hopeful to have some mooring holders up and running so that we could even demo it with some harbor committee people before it goes live, just so we can practice our end of what to do.
Yes, actually, we do want guinea pigs. Thank
To
you.
make sure it's user friendly. So we thought harbor committee would be a good place.
Perfect,
And so
yeah.
many of you have
Yeah.
moorings and different things, so it will be helpful.
You're also computer user adept, though. I don't know if
Some of us, not me.
Maria, you're a guinea pig then.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I want to be a guinea pig and I want to use the town credit card. Is that cool?
Mike, you're muffled.
Michael, you're such a good computer user. We can't hear you. What did you
We
say?
will always take your credit card. Always.
Yes.
No,
In-person
I want
service
to-
will
I'll
continue.
be a guinea pig. Ah, darn it. But I want to use, I'll be a guinea pig, but I also wanted to see if we could use the town credit card when we do that, since it's for learning.
Oh, the town. No, just
God.
Michael Schutz for everyone.
Is it April 15th that we can get our permits now that I'm a permit holder?
Yes.
For dinghy dock specifically?
Yeah.
Yes. Dinghy, kayak, beach boat, or April 15th.
Well, I just thought of it right now, and then I can't promise that I'm going to remember April 15th, so somebody can remember.
We'll send you an email.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks. Update on the harbor plan. While we are doing that, I would like to take the moment to introduce Jen Bushman. If you want to pop up, Jody can show you how, or you just press the button for the mic. So that way everyone can hear you. So Jen is a really amazing person that I have followed for a long time, her work. And I had the opportunity I asked her a couple years ago to do a series that Calliope, Mike's wife, was hosting and asked me to help with called Peer to Plate. And it was just really amazing to have her share like her knowledge. And so I've been looking for an opportunity in which Provincetown could benefit from her expertise for a while. And with our hope to purchase 16 Macmillan, it seemed like a really amazing opportunity. Secondly, I would also love her to help us tackle the harbor plans, which is why I brought it up now. But so Jen very graciously has come to town to kind of get the lay of the land. Pete and I did a walkthrough of the building with her today. She lunched at the Schooling Pig, so she's hitting all the spots. And we're trying to, Jen Bushman.
Yeah, I just wanted to get the name for the public.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jen has a foundation called Fed by Blue. Well, you can tell everyone.
Okay, well, it's really nice to meet everyone, and it's great to be here. You know, I've got such a special place in my heart for working waterfronts and have worked on a number of different projects. And at a high level, I have a nonprofit, as Michaela said, called Fed by Blue. And it really does work to amplify in a number of different areas the importance of foods from water and those that bring them to us. And we were lucky enough to work in several areas of focus, but one of them was to produce a docuseries for PBS that was nominated for an Emmy Award and a James Beard Award last May. And we've done a number of campaigns and programs around that. I sit on the board for the largest research and rescue hospital for marine mammals called the Marine Mammal Center out of the Bay Area. And we've done a lot of work with the San Francisco Pier and building activations around that for tourism as well as for commerce. And then a couple of other things of note. I'm on the board for Alexandra Cousteau's Oceans 2050, and that of course has done a number of initiatives around aquaculture. Hence why Michaela had mentioned that. So I'm really excited to be here and to get to know everyone and to just really hopefully help support you to honor what could be an even more vibrant pier and potentially more engagement with the public at large.
Thank you. And so Jen is going to be here for the next couple of days, meeting people and kind of getting the lay of the land. And we are, hoping to move this forward. And one of the avenues that she'll be helping us with is exploring revenue streams and how to maximize that and to make the purchase price as palatable as possible by offsetting that.
Can I start? This was the grants discussion that we had.
This is so not necessarily grants, like revenue streams and like how that will bring in money on its own, but then yes, also grants for programming, grants for, so also with the harbor plan, we've talked about before, like anything that we put in the harbor plan will make us eligible for.
Jen is a consultant.
Yes, Jen's a consultant.
That we talked about a couple of weeks.
Yes, Jen is
It
yes.
does look up Fed by Blue. Yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, so very excited to have you here. I'm very excited for you to get to meet committee members and Katie, and you met Pete, and hopefully meet Jamie. Gavin is there, and you can't see Laura and Mia, but I think Mia might be here around 3 if we're still going. But otherwise, she is around to meet you. She can meet some of the fishermen. We're going to go to the Center for Coastal Studies later. So
Oh, wait, so not grants, or yes?
potentially grants. So
Yeah, part
all-
of the mix
yeah.
will be, private public funding. I mean, it's part of what we're trying to explore is there an opportunity to be able to capitalize on some leases that would come from that, but then also looking at philanthropy, private family offices, and then, of course, grants at large to be able to help build programming in. But all yet to be explored, quite frankly. So really open to what we hope is, well, obviously a series of meetings to be able to start to gather information and then come up with a plan that's going to be the most effective.
So one project that Jen has worked on is Ocean Cluster in Portland and also in Iceland
Yep.
and then in Portland, Oregon.
If you've
as
heard
well.
of the 100% Fish Project and the Ocean Cluster, which they have in Portland, Oregon, they have it in the Great Lakes, they have one that they're opening in Alaska, and a number of other places that are like serve as these incubators specifically to support the fish and seafood community.
So it's very similar to what the Commons does, but for blue economy. And so for like whether it's marine startups or like offices like the Center for Coastal Studies or somebody who is working with ghost gear and turning into art, like people could rent spaces or we could have communal spaces. So nothing is decided. It's just exploring all the different
Right.
opportunities and which will be the most beneficial to the town and also bring us revenue. Because this has to pay for, I'm not saying it's going to pay for itself completely, but we have to, I think after Harbor Hill, we can't just be like a sinking money into things all the time, even no matter how good it is for the community. And so, my kind of take on this is that, we might not be in a position to afford this, but we really can't afford not to do it. And so, I mean, if anyone has any questions, ideas, I don't want to put Jen too much on the spot. We'll have plenty of time to talk to her, but I think everyone should like shoot their shot, whatever they think. And then also a big part of this is I want to hear from the fishermen. If it comes to a point where we end up moving the east side operations of the harbor into this area, and that opens up the east side, and we could put more. What do they need there? Like, what would make their lives easier? Is it more cranes? Is it a hot stop facility? Is it more ice? Is it whatever? Figuring out that, because at the end of the day, we need the fishing fleet to survive, and we need to encourage them to thrive to do that. And I think it gets harder and harder every year for people to fish, and our town was built on the backs of fishermen, and I think that we need to honor that and support that, and hopefully our future will also do that. I mean, we have over 100 restaurants in town, and if we're not like serving local fish, it's so I hope that we can all kind of come together and come up with some good ideas. Does anyone, Gavin, Laura, Mia, Mike, anyone have any?
I'm excited, Jen, that you're here. I read through like your proposal and a lot of the documents that you had laid out. And I'm really impressed with your background, and I would love to, I'll be back in town, but I'm available for any kind of meetings if there's other additional meetings that you need or want to do interviews. I have a background in supporting commercial fishing. I was the general manager of Gordon Seafood for a long time. And I've been on different boards, like I was on the Alaska pollock or genuine Alaska pollock producers board, among a few other fishery boards. And so I'd love to add value in any way that you see fit, and I'm looking forward to working with you and collaborating.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to hearing your perspective as well. I mean, Alaska's trying to sort of tackle the same thing in a number of different areas, as you know. And,
Yeah.
you know, Fed by Blue was really founded to be an agnostic resource for this type of communication, not having the, you know, the different company aspects involved and really honoring the standards, procedures, and practices of PBS. And that puts a very interesting perspective on it when you start to look at, you know, where philanthropy and where grants can really help support some of this. And then you add in what can potentially be the commercial aspects and what is available in this incredible town. And I think right now, I think it's quite literally casting a wide net, getting an idea of what my question for Barry and for Margot this morning was, if it could be anything you wanted on this pier and this building that you have, what would you want it to be? And I think that it's that type of thinking, and then we can kind of go from there to see where we can build partnerships and collaboration in order to make it happen.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It feels like
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
opportunity.
Definitely.
Anyone feel free to chime in if you want. No pressure. All right.
Michaela, can I say one?
Oh, yeah,
thing?
please.
Yep. In talking with town management about potential expansion to McMillan Pier, it is clear that we both get a lot of support and sort of grounding in the harbor plan, the harbor management plan that we're about to begin updating. And also that it is our primary mechanism for communicating with very impactful and well-resourced state regulators and grantee agencies. And so we're certainly going to incorporate, you know, Jen's wisdom and learnings and her visits to Provincetown, her work with us, and also all of yours as we update the plan. But it just further underscores the importance of that effort, because it will become the main policy document for the next 10 years that makes us able to achieve these visions and increase the sustainability and vitality of the waterfront here.
Yeah, and to that point, I want to think outside the box as much as possible with this, because I don't want to be like, okay, we're here in 2026 and these are, you know, we're in this administration and this is what's happening, and there's maybe not as many grant fundings. Like, who knows what's going to happen? And so I want people to like dream big. It's like, if this is your wish list, if you're writing to Santa, like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but maybe it can. But if it's not in the plan, we're limiting ourselves. And I think that in my experience of town government is that people are often afraid that they won't get what they want, or if they try, they'll fail. And so they are happy to kind of go with the status quo. And I hope that we can not do that and really like push for things that will be good for us, not just in 10 years, but in 20 years, 30 years, 100 years. Like, what is going to make this town survive? And like, you know, somebody said after the storm, it feels like we're on an island. Yeah, we're on an island, and we're an unsustainable island. Like, if we're getting everything from the outside, so we need to support each other and build the businesses that are here and support the industries that are here. And, you know, fishing is probably one of the only industries that's going to be AI proof. Like, so I think there are young kids who we should be supporting to get into this industry and making it easier for people to get educated on it. And I want to see us, like, part of this new thing would be hopefully like museum or educational aspects that we're showing people the history. Like, there's so many people who don't understand that this town was like one of the wealthiest communities in America until like the 1900s, because it was built on whaling and fishing. And this community, through so many horrible times, has sustained itself on that. And when people had nothing, they were able to fish and give it to their neighbors. And I think we've lost a lot of that. And when we have storms like this and the way that people help each other, I think it's a reminder that when we come together, we can do really incredible things. And so I hope that we can do this incredible thing for this town. And it's going to cost us a little money up front, but who cares if you're sitting on a pile of money when you're dead? Like, think about the stuff you want to leave behind. And like, for our children, for grandchildren, or if you don't have kids, like for somebody else's grandchildren. But I think that it's really important that we do this, even if it's hard. Thank you. So on the harbor plan,
Mhm.
I think that I would like to start reaching out to community members who would be very good at certain aspects of the plan. And then maybe, I'm not saying everyone has to read the whole plan, but just familiarize yourself with the chapters and see if there's any chapters that like speak to you that you'd be interested in delving in. And then maybe we can have like a committee member kind of tackle one or two and then, or identify community members who would be helpful in that. Like, for example, Noah and Malcolm or Laura Ludwig for the Center for Coastal Studies on the beach cleanup. Anyone from Center for Coastal Studies on like clean water, the fishermen. Like I know that they've already said that they are very interested in contributing. So the more robust this plan is and the more forward thinking this plan is, the more it will benefit us in the long run. And so, like think outside the box. Be like, oh, I saw this person doing this and it was, cool. Like we could even have a new section on ghost gear art, and maybe we can get funding for artists. Like Thor makes these really cool sculptures out of like old lobster traps and stuff. Like it doesn't have to be stuff that's in there. You can think, or what's that company that makes the sweaters out of oyster shells? Like, who says we can't do something like that here? Like, or bringing in companies that are already doing this and figuring out how to recycle the things that we have here. So yeah, try and get a little innovative with it, or, I mean, I'm always just shooting things off the wall. So
But I would say, if I may, that I think that the thing that's great about this is that if you'll send us all of those ideas, and Gavin, like you were talking about Gordon's, or, anyone that we think, name, email, company name, whatever, that's a potential partner, that's part of this process. This is what's really great about not presenting any of this until the fall, is that we get a chance to really socialize this and be in front of everyone with a good workable plan with partners that may have already tendentially committed.
Yeah.
So we've got a whole group of us standing in front saying, if this goes, we're all in. And I think that will go a long way to getting approvals as well, and forming a plan that's a phased out approach that, we can do
Yeah.
together. So if there's anyone, and that could be from a school teacher that's been really committed to, like I know with Fed by Blue, we're committed to grades 6 through 12, STEM and career education specifically in careers on water. And so it's like, okay, well, there's someone that's committed there. So maybe now there's someone at the school district that we can get, so we can commit that there'll be a certain number of students coming to this facility every single year. If it's a private family office that's already done work in investing in CPG companies, for example, that are from Foods from Water, like you and I were talking about tinned seafood, which is so huge right now. Any of those things. And the other thing I would ask is that if there are examples of where you've been that you just felt like were great examples of vibrancy, where it may have been some type of multi-use mall that you thought was really great with education and shops and residents. It might be something like Chelsea Pier, like what the James Beard Foundation has done with all these little kiosks of just diverse, incredible foods, education around Foods from Water. So those will be really helpful in all of us being able to visualize what this potential can be, so that we can get, again, as visual and specific as possible, so that everybody kind of knows what that dream can encompass.
yeah, like we're gonna have a new Mata Field in May. Like there's no reason we can't have our own Oyster Fest. Like, and have all these businesses like come and do their own little mini restaurant pop-ups or that kind of thing. Also, last year they invited 12 businesses to Davos that were all like different kind of skincare made from byproduct, from whether it's lobsters or jellyfish or whatever. Like, I mean, these are brands that are already existing that we don't have to like start our own things, but we could, whether it's Ocean Cluster or something like that, where they can come rent space. I think it's really invaluable how many people come through Provincetown, like, and would have like to have that kind of forefront to people. I think it would be very attractive for people to rotate in and out and kind of get exposure.
If you're not familiar with Ocean Cluster, obviously it's online, but we also featured it in the docuseries. So it's called Hope in the Water. Ocean Cluster was featured. We went to Iceland in episode 1, and it'll give you a really good sense of what they built in Reykjavik. Each model works differently, but it certainly could be a potential partner. I mean, I think that's probably another stop, is to talk to the team that's there. And each one, some have a physical location, some are done online, but they're all different entrepreneurs that are working together that are using either the fish or fish leather for fashion, or as Michaela has said, some type of a creatine byproduct off of the shells. I mean, you won't, biostimulants with the trim, you won't believe how many incredible and successful entrepreneurs have come out of the cluster.
Can you make like creatine powder out of the shells?
Yeah, shrimp and lobster are being used for supplements. There are athletes. There's a soda, one of the number one selling soda in Iceland. And bear with me, I know Iceland's small, so it's not going to be woohoo big sales, but is one that actually uses that fish
That's pretty
collagen.
cool. And you know, if you, instead of having the recommended dose of 5 grams of creatine every day, if you have 20, it feeds your brain instead of just your muscles. And if you don't sleep for 24 hours and you take 20 grams of creatine, it's the same as if you had a full night's sleep. Your brain processes in the same way.
I think I saw that on a fitness
Okay,
TikTok.
Michaela.
Slay makes me listen to podcasts
think
from
I-
across America.
Two testimonials.
I would not
for me, so I'm
suggest
upping my
that.
creatine.
Yeah, Michaela, I think a full night's sleep is probably a good idea, regardless of the amount of creatine you're consuming.
What's that, Mia?
What?
Sorry, Mia, there was some crosstalk in the room. We missed you.
No, I was just saying that I would not skip sleep for creatine. I would recommend for your
I
first
like to do
choice is
both.
probably a
You know,
full
I like my
night's sleep.
I like my 15 hours a day.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we just try to get as much sleep as possible, even if you're consuming tons of creatine.
So Mike Chu here, Jen, I look forward to chatting with you in the next couple of days. Also, we've started a little Harbor Fest. Let's not forget, we already have something brewing we can build off of. We brought 1,700 people here last weekend for like 4 hours. So I think the sky's the limit. What I would think is one of the values to what you're going to bring to the table for us is not necessarily what we're going to do with the building, but reminding the town how much potential is there, and as a whole, what it could bring to the picture. I don't know how much we're going to need to pitch this to the town, but I think they need to see that there is value in the addition of this space. But I don't think we have to pin it down now. And I love the idea that you're here to entertain and pursue so many avenues. So I appreciate that. And I look forward to working with you as we go forward.
Michael, I'm looking forward to it as well. And we've, Pete and I actually had some conversations about tourist, what's going to be generated off of tourism and local. And I've worked on a couple of projects where there were these opportunity zones that were very specific to what was being, basically what was being given for tourism, but more specifically, something that's really working for locals year round as well. So when you talk about having a festival that's off season, it's the same sort of thing.
And we get a tourism grant for having an off season. And
Exactly.
I think Harbor Fest is great. The reason that I'm thinking of staying at Mata Field is because it would be more inclusive. And if we have something on public property, we could actually have a fun like Wellfleet Spat or whatever it's called now, where the money, instead of going to one particular business that's hosting it, it could go into a fund, whether it's a harbor fund or whether it goes into, anything that we decide, or whether it goes to the Peer Enterprise Fund or whatever. But I think it would be really cool to do something in a very large public space where many vendors can participate. And I think that is what works very well with Wellfleet Oyster Fest, is that there are individual restaurants like Winslow's or whatever participating hatches, but then there's also like hundreds of spaces for different businesses to participate who are not even necessarily from Wellfleet.
I think we had talked about
we're almost at that.
potentially a grant that would be for someone who would just be full-time programming.
Yeah.
And doing events and making sure that if there was school visits or whatever, that we think that that's realistic and necessary.
Yeah, I think we're at the point where we can quickly scale that to happen faster. We're already outgrowing where we're at. I just like the idea of us being able to pitch that this space is going to bring a lot to the table. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I'm coming at it.
Plus, we just spent 14 million on Model Field. We might as well utilize it.
11.
I also want to flood it in the winter for an ice skating rink.
You almost lost me at flooding, but then I heard the rest of it, and now we're good.
All right. Anyone else have any wacky ideas that they want to shout out because they're tired? I didn't take my creatine. If there is nothing else, discuss potential agenda items for upcoming meetings. I would like to, it doesn't have to be for the next meeting, but I would like to talk about what the like immediate needs for example, for those families were. I know that is funded currently, but how much they expect to spend or what, so that we can think about that in the future, having a fund, whether it's that we raise or whether it comes out of the Harbor Access Gift Fund. But I would like to have money on hand that we don't have to go to the select board for in the event of an emergency, or even if it's like that family, if their family have to come from New Bedford and wait for them and we can put them up, like that kind of stuff. Obviously, we have a lot of very generous people in town, I'm sure, who would host them, but I want to have that ability. And also the town, we don't need to do it. I think we should do it next week is go over the town warrant and vote to recommend items. There is an article for $50,000 for the Fisherman's Memorial. Then there's, a couple other things. There's some coastal resilience stuff, which obviously ties into the harbor. I haven't really read it all. I don't think anything is very controversial, but I think it's always nice to take a look and vote to recommend. And so maybe if people, just to make it easy and fast, if people could take a look at their convenience and just write the agenda item numbers or the town article numbers that they think fall under our purview or recommendation, and yes or no, whether you recommend, and we'll just compare and contrast. I
Yeah.
basically like to recommend everything.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, mostly because anything that falls under our purview, even if it's most likely going to pass no matter what, we just don't want to run the risk of someone standing up at town meeting and saying, hey, why doesn't the harbor committee recommend this? So it makes sense, just anything that's related to us in any capacity, I would suggest we recommend.
And that way, if they do, you can fight them.
Yes.
Does anyone else have anything that they want on a upcoming agenda? You don't have to be put on the spot. If you do, you can email myself or Pete or Katie. Just in the next, it has to be in the Friday before, Monday before, but try and get it to Katie by Friday. Is that easy? And then the earlier, the better. And then I do think at some point we should discuss schedule for summer. Did we already discuss schedule for summer? We're off for the summer?
We have a schedule for the whole year that will circulate after.
Year
and
that
if
will circulate.
Maybe at the next meeting when folks can review it, and then we can make edits as needed.
Okay, because historically, Harbor Committee took the summer off. I don't think we should do
That'd be
that.
nice.
Because most people work on boats, but I do think that we're gonna have a lot coming up, and so that we should, but if we need to amend the schedule for people who are gonna be working more in the summer, or,
In the summer, we have one meeting in June, July, and August.
Okay.
And 2 meetings in May and
Yeah,
September and
okay.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, I think
I just
monthly
forgot.
in the summer makes sense.
Yeah, and then if anything comes up, we can always throw a meeting on.
Well, we'll send the schedule on after the meeting just to get folks
Okay.
eyes on it.
Does anyone else have anything else? Mia?
No, Michaela, I'm just finishing up here, so I will walk over just to meet you guys
Lay
in
eyes
person
on
at the
Jen.
end.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, does anyone have any other business or anything they want to get off their chest? No.
I just want to say thank you, Michaela. I did want to bring up the Fisherman's Memorial is on the town warrant, and it would be great to get a little vote of support there.
Yeah, Mike, do you guys have a plan just for talking about it? Because I was talking to someone about it today and they still thought that it was the boat sculpture, and I think that there's some confusion about it. So,
Where we are going to go to the informational sessions about the town
Okay, cool.
warrant. We do have some materials coming up. It is not going to be a fisherman in a boat. It's to represent those lost while fishing, so the boat will be empty. It's a 14-foot bastard dory atop a granite wave-shaped structure made with 900 plus now 2 additional names on it. So, and I have all the information. If anyone wants it, I'll have some informational packets for our next meeting. I'll bring some in paper ones for tactile, and I'll email them out to folks to look at. So,
wait,
again,
has
I
that
appreciate
changed?
the
Has
vote
that
of
changed
support.
again? Has that changed again? I thought it was a
The-
granite
So
slab.
let's read that.
It's a granite base with a bronze dory. It hasn't changed.
Oh, got it. Okay,
since.
cool.
Highlighted.
It also might be helpful for you when you're doing the informational studies. If you guys have a bank account, you could put a Venmo card that if people feel inspired to at the informational thing that they can donate.
Yeah, we have
Sadly,
PayPal
it's
on our
probably a
website. We
good
take all
time to.
the
Pardon?
major credit cards too. We take PayPal, all major credit cards, and on our website, it goes directly to the 501c3 for funding the construction of.
Yeah, you should do the QR codes because people are lazy.
We
And if
do.
they have
Yeah,
it,
we have
it's just-
QR codes. Yeah, all the QR codes go directly to the donation page.
Cool. All right.
And I believe we do have a Venmo set up. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate that.
All right. If there is nothing else, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Maria seconded first. All in favor? Maria?
Yes.
Mia? She's gone. Laura? Oh, she's here.
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And Gavin, you can do it just so we can hear your voice.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. We'll see you later. Don't tell Liz. All right. Bye. I was getting in trouble for letting him.